Imagine owning something the size of your thumbnail worth tens of thousands of dollars. Not because of precious gems or metals, but because of a simple mistake that transformed an ordinary piece of pocket change into a numismatic treasure. Today, we're exploring three of the most intriguing dimes in American coinage that have collectors constantly checking their change and coin dealers scrambling to acquire them. These aren't just rare coins. They're miniature time capsules with fascinating stories that continue to captivate both seasoned collectors and casual enthusiasts alike. Our journey begins with the 1996 Roosevelt dime, a seemingly unremarkable coin that has developed a remarkable reputation among serious collectors. What makes this particular year's issue so special? Pour yourself something nice, get comfortable, and let's explore why this modern coin commands such extraordinary attention. The 1996 Roosevelt dime might look ordinary at first glance, but its story is anything but common. Struck during a year that many collectors overlooked, this dime's significance wasn't immediately apparent when it entered circulation. The United States Mint produced Roosevelt dimes at three facilities that year: Philadelphia, Denver, and West Point. While Philadelphia and Denver dimes were part of regular production, the West Point Mint struck a special version that has since become legendary in numismatic circles. Let's step back and consider the historical context. 1996 was a pivotal year in many ways. Bill Clinton won his second presidential term. The Dow Jones crossed 6,000 points for the first time, and DVDs were just being introduced to the world. Against this backdrop of technological and cultural change, the U.S. Mint was quietly creating what would become one of the most sought-after modern dimes. The West Point Mint, originally built as a bullion depository in 1937, wasn't typically used for producing circulation coins. Its primary function was striking commemorative coins and storing gold. However, in 1996, due to high demand for circulation coinage, West Point was called upon to produce dimes. These dimes bore no mint mark, making them indistinguishable from those produced at the Philadelphia Mint, at least to the casual observer. What makes the 1996 W Roosevelt dime truly special is that it was only available in that year's uncirculated mint set. The U.S. Mint produced just 1,457,000 of these sets, each containing one 1996 W dime. This limited release strategy was unprecedented for a modern dime and created what numismatists call an artificial rarity, a coin that's scarce not because of a low mintage for circulation, but because of its limited distribution method. The 1996 W dime features the standard Roosevelt dime design that has remained largely unchanged since 1946. On the obverse, you'll find the profile of President Franklin D. Roosevelt, facing left, designed by John R. Sinek. The reverse displays a torch flanked by an olive branch and an oak branch, symbolizing liberty, peace, and strength. What distinguishes this particular dime is the tiny W mint mark below Roosevelt's bust, indicating its West Point origin. For collectors, identifying an authentic 1996 W dime requires careful examination. The mint mark is small but visible without magnification. Under a loupe or microscope, you should see a well-defined W, not to be confused with a worn D, Denver, mint mark or damage that might resemble a letter. The strike quality on these dimes tends to be exceptional, with sharp details on Roosevelt's hair and the torch flames on the reverse. The market value of the 1996 W dime has experienced remarkable growth over the decades. When first released in the mint set, collectors paid about $8 for the entire package. Today, a single 1996 W dime in mint state 65 condition typically sells for $200 to $300. Examples graded MS 67 can command $1,000 or more, while the finest known specimens, those rare MS 68 and MS 69 examples, have sold at auction for upwards of $6,000 to $10,000. In 2019, a perfect MS 70 example, the highest possible grade, sold for a staggering $16,800 at a heritage auction, establishing a record for this modern rarity. Condition is absolutely crucial when valuing the 1996 W dime. Since these coins were only issued in mint sets, virtually all examples remain uncirculated. However, improper handling, storage issues, or even minor flaws from the minting process can significantly impact their grade and value. Collectors should pay special attention to the coin's luster, any contact marks, especially on Roosevelt's cheek and the high points of the design, and the presence of any spotting or toning. What's particularly fascinating about the 1996 W dime is how its value trajectory challenges conventional wisdom about modern coins. Typically, coins produced after 1965 are considered modern issues and rarely command significant premiums over their face value. The 1996 W dime shatters this paradigm, proving that even contemporary coins can become valuable treasures under the right circumstances. Here's an interesting fact that even seasoned collectors might not know. The 1996 W dime was actually part of a celebration. The Mint included it in that year's uncirculated set to commemorate the 50th anniversary of the Roosevelt dime, which was first introduced in 1946 following President Roosevelt's death in 1945. This anniversary connection adds a layer of historical significance that enhances its appeal to collectors. Another fascinating aspect of the 1996 W dime is its role in changing collector behavior. After its release, attentive collectors began scrutinizing mint sets more carefully, looking for potential future rarities. The Mint, recognizing the excitement generated by the 1996 W dime, would later use similar special mintings to enhance the appeal of their annual sets, a marketing strategy directly influenced by the success of this coin. For those lucky enough to own a 1996 W dime, proper preservation is essential. These coins should be stored in inert, non-PVC holders and kept away from humidity and extreme temperature fluctuations. Many collectors choose to have their specimens professionally graded and encapsulated by services like PCGS or NGC, which not only helps preserve the coin but also provides authentication and an objective assessment of its condition. What makes collecting the 1996 W dime particularly appealing is its accessibility compared to many other valuable rarities. While definitely not cheap, it remains within reach for many serious collectors, offering a tangible connection to both numismatic history and the evolving strategies of the modern U.S. Mint. It represents that sweet spot in collecting, rare enough to be valuable and exciting, but not so impossibly scarce that average collectors must abandon hope of ever owning one. As we reflect on this remarkable modern rarity, we're reminded that numismatics isn't just about ancient coins or classic key dates. Sometimes, treasures can be found in relatively recent issues that most people overlooked when they were first released. The 1996 W Roosevelt dime stands as proof that in the world of coin collecting, vigilance and knowledge often prove more valuable than simply focusing on the oldest or most obviously rare specimens. Our final numismatic treasure brings us to a coin that bridges America's colonial past with its modern present, the 1976 Roosevelt dime. As we celebrate the nation's bicentennial, this particular year's dime holds secrets that few casual observers would ever suspect. While millions of these coins circulated through American pockets and purses, certain specimens possess qualities that elevate them from everyday currency to coveted collector pieces worth thousands of dollars. The year 1976 marked America's 200th birthday, a milestone celebrated with special commemorative designs on the quarter, half-dollar, and dollar coins. These featured the colonial drummer boy reverse and dual dates of 1776 to 1976. The humble dime, however, maintained its standard Roosevelt design unchanged since 1946. At first glance, nothing about the 1976 dime seems particularly special. It features the familiar profile of Franklin D. Roosevelt on the obverse and the torch flanked by olive and oak branches on the reverse. Yet beneath this ordinary appearance lies extraordinary potential. To understand the 1976 dime's significance, we need to examine the broader context of U.S. coinage during this period. The mid-1970s represented a transitional era for American mints. Silver had been removed from dimes and quarters in 1965, replaced with a copper-nickel-clad composition. Mint production techniques were evolving, and quality control processes were being refined. Against this backdrop, several notable era varieties emerged, with the 1976 dime producing some of the most valuable. The most sought-after 1976 Roosevelt dime variety is the no mint mark error from the Philadelphia Mint. Now, Philadelphia dimes from this era typically didn't carry mint marks. The P mint mark wasn't added to Philadelphia dimes until 1980. However, what makes certain 1976 specimens valuable is evidence of a mint mark that was punched into the die and then completely polished away, creating what specialists call a filled die error. Under strong magnification, these special 1976 dimes show distinctive polishing marks and a slight depression where the mint mark should be. This subtle anomaly resulted from mint workers attempting to correct a misplaced or double-punched mint mark by polishing the die, essentially erasing the mistake. The resulting coins show this characteristic polishing pattern that experts can identify. Another extraordinary 1976 dime variety is the elusive double die obverse. Double die errors occur during the hub and die manufacturing process when the die receives multiple impressions that are slightly offset from each other. On the 1976 double die dime, this manifests as noticeable doubling on Roosevelt's profile, particularly evident in the letters of Liberty and the date. Under magnification, the doubling appears as a distinct secondary impression, creating a ghost-like duplicate of design elements. Identifying these valuable 1976 variants requires patience and specialized knowledge. For the no mint mark error, collectors should examine the area below Roosevelt's bust where a D, for Denver, would normally appear. Using at least 10x magnification, look for unusual polishing marks, a slight depression, or a faint outline of a mint mark. For the double die variety, focus on the word Liberty and the date, looking for clear separation between the primary and secondary impressions. The market values for these special 1976 dimes vary dramatically based on variety and condition. A standard circulated 1976 dime is worth only face value, but the no mint mark error can command $50 to $300 depending on clarity and preservation. The more dramatic double die obverse examples have sold for $500 to $3,000 in uncirculated condition. In 2018, a particularly well-preserved specimen graded MS 67 by PCGS sold at auction for an impressive $7,200, demonstrating the extraordinary premium collectors place on these coins. Condition is perhaps even more crucial for these era varieties than for our previous examples. Since the identifying characteristics are subtle, any wear or damage can obscure the very features that make these coins valuable. Uncirculated examples with sharp strikes and minimal bag marks command the highest premiums, while heavily circulated specimens may be nearly impossible to authenticate definitively. Here's a fascinating aspect of the 1976 dime story that many people don't realize. The bicentennial year saw increased coin production to meet commemorative demand, with the Philadelphia Mint alone striking over 1.9 billion dimes, a staggering number that would seem to dilute any coin's rarity. Yet paradoxically, this massive production volume may have contributed to quality control issues that created these valuable varieties. The Mint was working overtime, dies were being used longer, and the pressure to meet production quotas created conditions where errors were more likely to occur and more likely to be overlooked. Another interesting facet of these 1976 dimes is their connection to the economic conditions of the era. The mid-1970s were a period of significant inflation and economic uncertainty in America. As prices rose, coin production increased to meet demand, and coins circulated more rapidly. This historical context adds another dimension to these numismatic artifacts. They're not just coins with minting errors, but tangible connections to a challenging economic period in American history. For collectors, part of the excitement surrounding 1976 dimes is their accessibility. Unlike ancient rarities locked away in museums or wealthy collectors' vaults, these coins theoretically could still be found in circulation or in neglected coin collections. Stories periodically emerge of lucky collectors discovering valuable 1976 varieties in inherited coin collections or even in bank rolls. This treasure hunt aspect keeps interest high and encourages careful examination of any 1976 dimes that pass through collectors' hands. If you're hoping to find one of these valuable varieties, your best approach is methodical examination with proper equipment. A good quality magnifying glass or coin loop with at least 10x magnification is essential. Proper lighting, preferably adjustable, direct lighting, helps reveal the subtle details that distinguish valuable varieties from common specimens. Comparing suspicious coins side by side with confirmed normal examples can help train your eye to spot the differences. The 1976 Roosevelt dime story reminds us that in numismatics, value often hides in plain sight. While collectors might focus on ancient specimens or obvious rarities, some of the most valuable modern coins appear utterly ordinary to the casual observer. Only through knowledge, careful examination, and patience can these treasures be identified. This democratic aspect of coin collecting, the idea that valuable specimens might be found in everyday change, continues to attract new enthusiasts to the hobby. As we conclude our exploration of these three remarkable dimes, we're reminded that numismatics offers unique connections to history, art, economics, and even manufacturing processes. Each of these coins, the 1996 W dime with its deliberate limited release, the 2015 Diamond Quarter Error with its dramatic visual impact, and the subtle but valuable 1976 varieties, tells a different story about American coinage and collectability. What unites them is how they transform something seemingly ordinary, a small disc of metal worth 10 cents, into objects of desire worth thousands of dollars. They demonstrate that value in coin collecting stems not just from age or precious metal content, but from the unique circumstances of production, historical significance, and the dictates of collector interest. So next time you receive change or sort through a jar of coins, take a moment to examine those humble dimes. Look at the dates, check for unusual features, and weigh any suspicious specimens. Remember that within that handful of ordinary currency might hide a numismatic treasure waiting to be discovered by someone with the knowledge to recognize its true worth. In the world of coin collecting, today's pocket change could be tomorrow's prized possession, a miniature piece of history you can hold in your hand. The story of our second remarkable coin takes us to a more recent chapter in American numismatic history. The 2015 Roosevelt dime might seem too new to be considered valuable, but appearances can be deceiving in the world of coin collecting. This modern issue harbors secrets that have sent collectors on nationwide hunts through rolls of change and bank-fresh coins, looking for examples that could be worth hundreds or even thousands of times their face value. The year 2015 witnessed several significant events, from the historic Paris Climate Agreement to the first close-up images of Pluto. But in the quiet workshops of the United States Mint, something unusual was happening with that year's dime production that wouldn't be discovered until months later. What makes the 2015 Roosevelt dime special isn't a planned rarity like our previous coin. Instead, it's the result of an unusual minting error that occurred at the Philadelphia Mint. During production, some of the 2015 Philadelphia minted Roosevelt dimes were accidentally struck on copper-nickel blanks intended for quarters. These are what numismatists call wrong planchet errors, when a coin is struck on a blank intended for a different denomination. To understand the significance of this error, we need to appreciate some technical details. A standard Roosevelt dime measures 17.91 millimeters in diameter and weighs 2.27 grams, composed of an outer layer of 75% copper and 25% nickel bonded to a pure copper core. In contrast, a quarter is substantially larger at 24.26 millimeters and weighs 5.67 grams. When a dime design is struck on a quarter blank, the result is a dramatically oversized dime with a distinctive appearance and feel. These 2015 quarter dime errors feature the normal Roosevelt dime design, but extend all the way to the edge of the larger planchet. The quarter's reeded edge is present, and the coin's weight immediately reveals it's not a standard dime. Most tellingly, these error coins have a wide, plain border around the dime design, as the smaller dime dies couldn't impress the entire surface of the larger quarter blank. The discovery of the 2015 quarter dime errors sent shockwaves through the collecting community. Error coins have always held a special fascination for collectors, representing unique deviations from the meticulous standards of modern minting. But what makes the 2015 error particularly notable is its dramatic visual impact combined with its extreme rarity. Experts estimate that fewer than 50 examples may exist, though the exact number remains unknown as new specimens continue to be discovered. Identifying an authentic 2015 Roosevelt dime on quarter planchet requires careful observation and measurement. The weight is the most immediate giveaway. At roughly 5.67 grams, it's more than twice as heavy as a standard dime. The diameter matches that of a quarter, and the coin will have a distinctive appearance with the dime design centered on the larger planchet, surrounded by that distinctive flat border. Under magnification, the reeded edge should appear normal for a quarter, and the composition should match quarter specifications rather than dime metal. The market value of these extraordinary error coins has skyrocketed since their discovery. While a regular 2015 Philadelphia Roosevelt dime is worth exactly 10 cents in circulation, these quarter planchet errors have sold for astounding sums. Documented sales range from $3,500 for examples with minor issues to over $10,000 for perfectly preserved specimens. In 2018, a particularly nice example graded MS 65 by PCGS sold at auction for $7,637, and private sales have reportedly reached even higher figures. Condition plays a crucial role in determining the value of these error coins. Since they were released into circulation before the error was discovered, many examples show wear from everyday use. Uncirculated specimens with minimal handling marks command the highest premiums. The centering of the strike also affects value. Examples where the dime design is perfectly centered on the quarter planchet are more desirable than off-center strikes. What makes the 2015 quarter dime error particularly fascinating is the mystery surrounding how such mistakes could occur in the modern era. The U.S. Mint employs sophisticated machinery and quality control procedures specifically designed to prevent such errors. For these coins to reach circulation, they somehow bypassed multiple inspection points. Numismatic experts speculate that a small batch of quarter blanks might have accidentally been mixed with dime blanks during the production process, perhaps during a shift change or maintenance period. Here's an intriguing fact about these error coins. They represent one of the few instances where a smaller denomination coin was struck on a planchet for a larger denomination. Typically, mint errors occur in the opposite direction, larger denomination designs on smaller planchets, simply because smaller blanks are more likely to accidentally make their way into a production run for larger coins. The reverse scenario requires a more unlikely sequence of events, making the 2015 quarter dime errors even more remarkable. The human element in this story cannot be overlooked. Despite all the technology and procedures at the modern mint, these errors remind us that coin production still involves people and processes that occasionally fail in unexpected ways. Each of these error coins tells a story of a particular moment when something went wrong in the usually precise minting process. For collectors, the hunt for these errors continues. What makes them particularly tantalizing is that they could theoretically still be found in circulation. Unlike our previous 1996 W dime that was never released for everyday use, these 2015 errors entered the cash economy and might still be discovered by observant individuals checking their change. This treasure hunt aspect has inspired countless collectors to search through bank rolls of dimes, hoping to find the distinctive weight and appearance of a quarter-sized dime. If you're hoping to find one of these remarkable errors, your best strategy is to focus on weight and size. Rather than examining the design details of every 2015 dime you encounter, simply look for any dime that appears unusually large or feels heavier than normal. A digital scale that measures in grams can be invaluable in this search. Remember, you're looking for a dime that weighs approximately 5.7 grams instead of the normal 2.3 grams. The 2015 Roosevelt quarter dime error represents a perfect storm in modern numismatics, a visually dramatic error on a popular series, extreme rarity, and the ongoing possibility of new discoveries. It's a reminder that even in our technologically advanced age, imperfections happen, and sometimes these imperfections create treasures more valuable than perfect production ever could. As we transition to our final featured coin, we're reminded that numismatic value isn't always about age. Sometimes, the most valuable coins can be found hiding in plain sight, even in recent pocket change. The thrill of the hunt and the possibility of discovery keep collectors searching through rolls of dimes, hoping to find that one heavy coin that could be worth thousands.